Thank you so much, Allie. SANDAG stabilization project on the Del Mar Bluff is now in phase 5 of construction. More support and drainage improvements are being added, but not without some backlash from local residents. Joining us now to discuss this matter in much greater detail is the mayor of Del Mar, Madam Mayor Terry Gaasterland. How are you doing,
Paul? It's really good to be here this morning.
All right, so the hole is a little bit bigger than we thought it was going to be. Please explain.
Yeah, well, let's talk first about what are we looking at. We're looking at the railroad tracks on top of the bluff for an entire mile in coastal Del Mar. The railroad is in between everyone in San Diego County and the beach at that location.
Right.
11th Street is a classic surfer crossing for 100 years.
Got it.
Back in June 2022, armoring the bluff with seawalls and tiebacks and drainage ditches came before the Coastal Commission. And the Coastal Commission said, okay, you can build this, but it's got to be gone in 30 years at the most, and you need to relocate these railroad tracks. So at that time, the Coastal Commission said yes. And people in Del Mar just said, okay. Then, just this past few days, the railroad unveiled its brand new drainage trench at 11th Street, and it's double the size of what the commissioners approved. It's over my head. I can stand in the bottom.
All right, so is this nefarious, incompetence? What is this? The fact that it's bigger than everyone agreed to?
Well, so the first thing I did was go back to the plans and ask what was approved. The next thing I did was contact the Coastal Commission and ask, what did you approve? And it turned out that after the commissioners had their hearing, little by little, staff talked to staff, and this thing just grew.
And what's the goal? Why is it bigger? I mean, what's the plan of making it bigger?
Well, it's carrying capacity. I was told the volume of water. I enjoyed what Dan Plant said yesterday when we met out there to take a look. And he said the Nile River could come through this trench. And he's right. It's 12 feet wide at the top, 6 feet wide at the bottom, and 6 feet deep. It's a moat.
All right, so is this something that has to be rectified before the project can continue, or are you just going to accept it as is?
Well, the spirit of all of this is maintain beach access. And the surfers have been going across, as well as people going to eat their lunch and look at the beautiful ocean right there, on sandbags that are piled up in the bottom. It's about 1.5 feet of sandbags, and they form a bridge with a pipe going through right now. Well, they could leave that there, but it'll probably be washed away with the next storm that happens. So a solution is needed. We can't just leave it as is. The sandbags will be washed away. That's a temporary solution. So something has to happen, and that's what I'm asking for.
Hey, don't yell at me here, but how about I propose a solution? Why do we need why don't we just move everything inland by truck and just do away with the tracks altogether?
Well, that would be the long-term solution. Get the railroad tracks off the bluff, and out of bisecting every coastal city from Oceanside to Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solana Beach, Del Mar, the train goes right through our cities. And in Del Mar, it goes in between us and the ocean. Take it to I-5 at the very least. It's at I-5 and Oceanside. Now, where can the freight go? The mayor of Encinitas about 1.5 years ago sat me down and said, look, it can go along the sprinter tracks, which are freight capable, and down toward Escondido. And then there's a gap. It's about a 10-mile gap. And then Miramar has train tracks that go back to where the freight tracks are now, where they don't, well, they go down and they bisect the city of San Diego next. We really need a better solution in our region. We really do.
But isn't it this point where you're throwing good money after bad? I mean,
that's a cost-benefit analysis that I'd really like to see happen in an open, truly questioning way. How do we get the freight best from the north to south and south to north? If we can solve that problem, the passenger traffic will follow through smart transit planning.
When things like this happen, usually lawyers are circling and there are lawsuits filed and gums up the works, and what is already an overdue project becomes even later and later. What's going to happen? Are the legal beagles and legal eagles all going to stick their beak in?
Good question. We've been trying to do this cooperatively. This is now an $88 million project. About 3 years ago, it was an $80 million project, and it has gotten a little bigger. In 2022, we were protesting, don't put a mile of seawalls continuously along the beach at the toe of the bluff in Del Mar. Instead, do what was given as the alternative in the environmental report. Put more tiebacks at the top. Well, the Coastal Commission staff pushed back and said tiebacks are harder to take out once the railroad tracks are relocated. So instead, we got seawalls.
Explain what a tieback is.
Tieback is an angled long beam it's a long beam that goes to a beam that goes about 80 feet down into the ground. These tiebacks and these vertical beams are effectively a seawall that's in the ground up at the track level, protecting the tracks, and it's proven to work.
All right, so look into your crystal ball as we wrap up this conversation. How's it going to play out a week, month, year, 2 years from now?
Well, this trench is a monster. It's enormous, and it's at a classic surf crossing. You know, it's even in songs that people sing about surfing in Del Mar. So the surfers will find a way, but it's big, it's ugly, it's a monster, and it's deep. So I hope we can find a way to rework it. At the very least, some sort of footbridge across the top, maybe make it shallower, maybe memorialize these sandbags. And the Coastal Commission meets this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and this is the moment for the public to speak up and say, we want a different solution here.
Madam Mayor, I'm in relatively good health. Am I going to live long enough to see this project complete?
The railroad relocated? I really hope we can do it. It's feasible, it's doable. Right now we're studying with $300 million from the state how environmentally it can be done.
All right, we'll be right back with more Good Morning San Diego. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paul.